And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience, and I've continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FV Show, we are continuing our Week 1 game previews all through the lens of fantasy football. If you missed any of the previous episodes, you can click right up here. I'm going to leave a card that will take you to the playlist of all of our Week 1 breakdowns. Up next, though, we are going to talk about the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings, a NFC North divisional game to start this season. Let's fucking go. Football is back. If you are excited for this preview, be sure to hit that like button like an open receiver downfield, Patrick Mahomes style. Also smash that subscribe button, power running back style like Derrick Henry up the middle, so that you never miss a video from me. We are just cranking out content all throughout the next 17 weeks. My favorite 17 weeks of the year. Last but not least, you can actually follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture, and of course the website is ffvulture.com. Let's just jump right into it. Green Bay versus Minnesota. There's a lot to talk about here. This is a game with a lot of fantasy relevant pieces in it, and that always makes my heart so happy. The over-under for this game is 45.5 points, one of the higher scoring games, surprisingly, for Week 1, at least that I thought. Like 45, like that seems like a pretty high number for these teams, just two teams that actually really want to run the football. So I am a bit confused by that line. I'll probably end up taking the under. But game notes, 0 injuries to report, which is always a good thing. I think this is actually the only game where I have no injuries listed of note. What else are some other storylines here? Well, Dalvin Cook is not going to hold out. There was some speculations that he might do it after training camp, but so far so good. He is going to suit up for Week 1 in that contract year. Get your money, Dalvin. You deserve it. And then also, what does this Vikings offense look like without Stephon Diggs? If you guys remember this offseason, they traded Diggs to Buffalo, and now it's Adam Thielen and maybe Justin Jefferson, maybe BC Johnson, potentially, who's rumored to be the number 2. We'll see. I'm really interested to see what Johnson looks like in this offense. Does he fulfill that Stephon Diggs role? What does Justin Jefferson do as a rookie? Really excited, because we also know that this team wants to run the football. Let's talk about some start sets, though, for this game, because I really don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about on the Green Bay side as far as storyline goes. I guess the big thing here is, what does the workload split look like between Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and A.J. Dillon? I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And is Aaron Rodgers actually on a mission to prove to everybody that he still has it? Because there are a lot of doubts coming from some people in the media, and specifically kind of like the coaching staff. Just because they drafted Jordan Love, they're trying to shift to a run-first offense. Just a lot of things going against Aaron Rodgers, and I do think he is on a mission to prove to people, hey, I'm still here, and I still got it, so let's fucking do it, right? So Green Bay auto starts. I really only have 2, right? And these are the 2 obvious ones, and it's Aaron Jones and it's Davante Adams. You're going to start Davante Adams, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, a guy who consistently not only puts up yardage, but touchdowns as well, who has Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football, who is the only really true receiving option on this, who is the only true consistent receiving option on this team. Like, Adams, no-brainer. You drafted him in the first, second round, you're taking him. All right, Aaron Jones, big storyline here, obviously, is they draft A.J. Dillon in the second round for some reason. Aaron Jones is in a contract year. He's going to play fantastic, because we know what guys do in contract years. Ironically enough, both running backs in this game are in a year like that. And Aaron Jones finally got the receiving work and the involvement that we wanted him to last year, which is why it is so frustrating that they bring in A.J. Dillon to kind of siphon some of the workload from him. And just, we'll see what this backfield actually shakes out to be. But despite that, we are absolutely starting Aaron Jones this week. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Vikings defense just lost Hunter, who is one of the better defensive players on their team. They lost him due to IR. And this team should be able to run the ball. This team being Green Bay, they should be able to run the ball effectively. And Jones just getting that work out of the passing game as well. Like, is Aaron Jones the number 2 receiving option on this team? I think you can make the case for that. In Minnesota, the auto starts are very, very similar to what you're starting in Green Bay. You're starting a running back and a wide receiver, and that is Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. Everybody else I'm probably not going to touch. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Dalvin Cook, you drafted him in the top 5 for a reason. You're going to start him every single week. And Adam Thielen, maybe you drafted him as your 1. That was something I was really clamoring for throughout this offseason is, hey, you can go into 2020 with Adam Thielen as your number 1 receiver, and I would feel great about it. But more likely than not, you probably have him as your number 2, and he is going to see a handful, I'd say, of targets. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 handfuls of targets because with Stephon Diggs leaving, like, Adam Thielen is the guy now, and that's really exciting because Thielen, whenever he has been on the field, and obviously he did face some health concerns last season, when Adam Thielen is on the field, he is great for your fantasy team. So start him up, fire him up with confidence. I got a lot of hope. Not even hope. Hope's the wrong word. Hope is wishful thinking, right? I have confidence. I have expectations for Adam Thielen to play really well in week 1. The things that I'm focusing on during this game are a few things. Number one, Minnesota's tight end snap percentage. Is this actually going to be the year where Irv Smith Jr. breaks out, establishes himself in the offense, or are they still going to do that bullshit where they run out Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith, and it just eats into each other's value, and you just don't want to start either of them? I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what the tight ends actually do in Minnesota. And then the other thing that I'm watching in this game is that Green Bay backfield. I'm laser focused on it. Speaking as an Aaron Jones dynasty owner, I'm very, very scared about A.J. Dillon, and that's just one of those things because that play style is so totally different. So what is that split going to actually look like in not only this game, but the rest of the season going forward? The question that I have is, where are A.J. Dillon's snaps going to come from? I think that's my big overarching question, right? Because Aaron Jones, when it was inside the 10, Aaron Jones was getting the ball. Inside the 5, he was definitely getting the ball. I believe he had one of the highest conversion rates of touches inside the 5. And if those are the snaps that A.J. Dillon is going to get, I have a lot of concern then for Aaron Jones and his viability moving forward, just because Aaron Jones has already been a riskier running back, a high upside, with also the potential to bust week in and week out. We saw that a bit last year. And so if he is losing those valuable snaps, then, oh boy, that roller coaster might get a whole lot rockier going throughout the course of this season. But I think that's going to do it for my Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings NFC North Week 1 preview. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. We are doing this for every single Week 1 game. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you very much. Be sure to drop us a review wherever you are listening. You can also follow me on Twitter at FFVulture. Same thing for Instagram and TikTok. And, of course, the website is ffvulture.com. Once again, thank you so much for watching. And remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. I will see you in the next preview.